Hello and welcome to another live stream from the Eaton Rapids Area District Library. My name is Jeremy. I'm the technology coordinator and the host of what has started to become a semi-regular live stream. So I owe everybody an apology. I was actually due to stream last week, but I came down with a case of food poisoning. So obviously, I was in no condition to be live streaming or doing much else last week. Uh, so welcome. Get the chat open just in case people show up and want to ask questions. So the first thing that I wanted to touch on today is just a little update on what is going on at the library. We are, in fact, still under construction. Our operating hours are reduced to 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and that is valid through the end of this week. Next week, we will be closed on Friday for a staff in-service day. And hopefully the following week, when we do another live stream, I will have more information to announce about things that we are waiting on delivery of and a few other odds and ends. So right now, currently, we are operating with the staff on the public side of the building. If you've been in the library lately, you will notice that there are staff workstations set up in what is commonly known to visitors as the kids area. So, yes, there are staff over there. There are no toys for your littles to play with currently. So, I guess that just gives you the extra incentive to get them outside and chasing a dog around or doing something outside, right? So what is being worked on right now? Well, the north half of the building is the seating area up in front where the old entry door was. And then the next section is a little nook for the public printer, and the self-checkout machine will also live there. Then there is a new office for the director, which is currently being worked on this week and into next week. And then beyond that is the area for the rest of the staff to work in, and progress is being made. I believe next week is going to see final paint and carpet and electrical, so it should be a little bit of an interesting juggling match for all this work to get done and to get the final pieces in place for final furniture delivery. So, a common question that has come up during the construction period is, when are the public computers coming back? And I don't have a solid date for that. My best estimate at this point in time, on the 14th of May 2026, is, hold on just a moment, let me silence something else over here. I just need to check this real quick. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so let me get this turned off completely. Um, so there are no firm dates on when exactly all the furniture is going to be delivered. The electrical is going to be finished, and the public computers become available. Obviously, once the furniture is in and the electrical is reconnected, I will have to update those public computers before I can turn the public loose on them. I'm sorry, but after basically 2 months of sitting unused, there are going to be quite a number of updates that need to be done. And this is just the nature of the beast working in technology and needing to make sure the boxes are ticked and the stuff is updated so people can use things and have it be as seamless as possible. So, um, that gives you sort of a little rundown on what is happening at the library. I see I've got one person watching. Thank you for being here. Please feel free to make a comment. Let me know where you're watching from, if you're out of the immediate area, or if you have a question about technology, whether it's something that we offer in the library, or if you have a question about some technology problem that you are facing currently. I will make my best effort to try to answer questions here in the live stream, and you can always contact for a one-on-one meeting at a later date. All right, take a little break. Coffee. All right. So, I'm going to take a little bit of a detour. One of the things that has been coming up a little more lately, and I've been doing a little more, well, not a lot more, but a little bit more outreach to, for instance, the Senior Center and the Chamber of Commerce. But one thing that comes up quite a bit is about security and security for small businesses. And let me see if I can bring up my notes here real quick. And so recently there was an article published about things that people can do to keep themselves safe. And let's see, I can put these in the chat here in a minute, but these are 5 basic steps that whether you're a home user or a small business owner, these are steps that are sort of the low-hanging fruit that both the FCC and the NSA, I believe it was, yes. No, excuse me, the FBI and the NSA have recommended that people do. And this is in large part in relation to the router ban that you may have heard of, where networking devices, consumer oriented networking devices that are made overseas have been banned by the current administration and pending review and reapproval, I guess. So here we go through the 5 steps. So update your firmware regularly. So if you've got a router, Linksys, TP-Link, D-Link, Asus, Synology, what have you, update your firmware regularly. So the firmware is like a core component of what makes the device run, right? And periodically, the manufacturers will issue updates. Part of the reason they do this is for security enhancements. And so I try to convince other people to do this as well, but I try to recommend that people at least check for an update on a monthly basis. If you are seeing things on the news, if you're seeing things on websites or in newspapers or however you get your news related to tech and other things, suggesting that there are breaches happening, that there are vulnerabilities. If you hear the buzzwords, then see that as an indicator that you may just want to, dot your I's and cross your T's and double check to see if there's a firmware that needs to be updated. If there's not, then you're okay for the moment. But if you happen to go 6 months with 0 updates to your firmware, it is seriously time to consider replacing that device. Now, you might be asking, what if I use the device provided to me by my cable company or my cellular company or what have you? Well, then the next step is to contact that company and ask them for a replacement. Ask them why it's been 6 months and you have not received an update. And if that doesn't get you anywhere, then your next step is really voting with your wallet. Once your contract period is up, if you happen to be locked into one, it's time to vote with your wallet, move on to another internet provider. All right, got off on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's important for you to consider this. The number 2 item on their list is to reboot your router, smartphones, and computers at least once a week. And if you're using a laptop, you probably do this anyway if you're taking it with you and throwing it in a laptop bag. Because let's face it, if you just leave it turned on and throw it in the bag, your battery's just going to run down while you're doing nothing. And that's not very effective. So, once a week, restart your computers, your router, your smartphones, if you've got tablets, if you've got a streaming box, update all those items once a week just to make sure things are clear and they're going to run as fast as they can. Number 3 on the list, change your default usernames and passwords. So, not that long ago, it was very common for companies to set a default username and password. Many times they would do admin for the user and admin for the password, or password for the password, or password 123 for the password. The problem is that you use that device for a while and you don't change it. And what if you have, we'll call them a creative teenager that thinks that they're a computer security expert living next door to you? Well, obviously the first thing they're going to do is try to connect to your network and use the default username and password to get into your router. And then they could do all sorts of nefarious things and potentially lock you out of your own device. So change that default password at a bare minimum. If the device allows you to create your own username, by all means, create that user, make it an administrator level, and then disable or delete the default user on that device. All right, before we go on to the final two, let me just check and see if there are any comments. And so far we've got no comments. It looks like we've got 3 people watching, but no comments. You just see if okay, I'm good there. Notifications coming in, I gotta check them. Especially when they're coming in from work, right? All right, so hello to the 3 people that are out there watching. We're going to continue on through our last 2 items that you should be doing to help your safety and security online. The number 4 item is disable remote management. A lot of devices want to add features where you can be out and about and update your router when you are not at home. This does present a bit of a security issue because many of these interfaces that are set up to do this are not done so very securely. There are options to allow you to do this that are much more secure, but they take a little more setup. So by default, you do want to disable remote management on your router. And that brings us to number 5. Number 5 is to use a VPN. Now, get it out of your head, if it was there to begin with, but get it out of your head that a VPN is going to be a one-shot solution to all of your security issues. Where a VPN really comes into play is to give you remote access. Now, there are a number of types of VPNs out there, and I'm going to talk briefly about 2 of them. So one would be your typical NordVPN, Surfshark, etc. And this type of VPN basically will make it look like you are somewhere that you really aren't. Many times, people will use something like this so they can, for instance, appear to a computer device, a network device, that they are in London, England, for example. And the reason for doing this, or part of the reason many people do this, is so they can get access to television programming or other resources that are locked down by the country that you appear to be in. So, for instance, if you wanted to appear to be in London, England, you might have access to more British programming on Netflix or Amazon Prime Video, for example, that you wouldn't have otherwise if your location effectively said, hey, I'm in Eaton Rapids. So that is one type of VPN. The second type of VPN is something that's a little more modern, something that is more meant for remote accessing devices that you own or are in charge of. And that is, many times people will use what is called an overlay VPN or overlay network. So an example of this would be if I am at the library and I want to access something that's here on my home network. I use a service called Zero Tier. There are others like it. They aren't exactly the same, but they are similar. There is Tailscale, there is Netbird, there is Twingate, and there are others out there. But the idea is to your devices, it makes it appear that you're on the same network. So if I'm at the library and I want to access a device that's here or grab a file that's stored on a computer that's here in my home, then I connect to the service. The device here in my home is already connected to the service, and I can then remotely access files on my network. Again, this takes a little more setup. It's more for an intermediate to advanced user, but it is very useful to know about. So, that brings me to the end of that. But as promised, I am going to put a few links in the chat. Would you believe that we're up to 4 people watching? So here is an article from CNET. This next one is an article from the FCC, actually a PDF file from the FCC. And the third one is also from the FCC, and it talks about the routers that are banned and the update for that list. So I'll put these on screen real quick. Here's the CNET article, and it gives you, again, old habits die hard. I went through grad school. I had to record the date that I accessed a resource, so I included that here. So the you can grab that and read that on CNET. It links to the FCC and a PDF document they produced there. And then here is a website at the FCC, and it's an updated list of devices that may be banned or currently are banned, pending review. All right. Nobody wants to say hello today? Well, I hope you're all having a great Thursday. One of the things I like doing is these live streams. It can be a little more difficult to do them when I'm in the library every day of the week. So at least while I've got some work from home time, these will continue. So you're guaranteed at least one more towards the end of the month. So basically 2 weeks from today. Hopefully I will get an earlier announcement out about that. And then depending on what I can make work, we may continue these in over the summer. That's just going to depend on several factors and whether I can make it work. So stay tuned for the next live date, and feel free to have your questions prepared if you want to ask them live. We will take a look at them. So, just double check my notes and see if there was anything else that I wanted to cover today. I think I've basically gone down my list pretty well. And so far, so good. All right. So, since we got a little bit of time to kill, I'll talk about a side project that I've been working on that you may be able to find somewhere else on YouTube, but I'm not going to plug that here. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Can I... Can I fix that? Okay, let's do this and let's do that. Maybe that's not going to work today. All right, I'm not going to worry about that at the moment then. All right, so one thing that you may want to be considering, and just food for thought at this point, right? One thing you may want to be considering is how you have people accessing your home network. And you might be asking yourself, well, why would I want to make things more complex than what they already are? Well, I've got a good answer for you. Generally, I have good answers. And if I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know, and I will help find an answer for you. But by default, when you've got a wireless network set up at home, you're going to have a name for that network. We'll just say Jones_home, right? And generally, for Jones_home, you might have a single password set up, which means that anybody in your household that has that password can get access to your network. But one of the reasons that you want to become a little more fluent in how your network is set up, or reach out to somebody who can help you with that, is because many of the network devices that are out there today have capabilities that only enterprise networking equipment had 20 years ago. And so what people can do today is they can segment things. I'm not going to get super technical on you, but they can segment things by using two different passwords for the same network. So you may have Jones_home as your network name, but you might want to have two separate passwords. And effectively, it will create zones of access, right? So, say it's you and your spouse, and you've got a couple of kids. Well, you and your spouse are paying for the internet access. So, the two of you may want to have the full speed available to you. Whereas little Johnny, who's 10 or 12, doesn't necessarily need to have that kind of speed available. So if Johnny has a tablet or a laptop, then you may want to slow their access down. And you can do that. There are multiple ways you can do that, but you can in fact do that. So the next time you're in the settings for your network equipment, take a look around. See what options you've got available. If you don't understand the options, reach out. Take some screenshots. I'd be happy to talk through those with you and see how we can make things better for everybody involved. All right. So, we've gone 30 minutes. Nobody's asking questions today. I don't know if the cat's got your tongue, if everybody's at work or school. But this feels like a good place to cut things off for today. I should be back in approximately 2 weeks. Hopefully, I'll have more updates, maybe some pictures to share about the refresh project. But that's going to do it for now. And we will talk soon here on YouTube or at your favorite local library. Until next time, have a great day.